Let's go. Sammy Byrne, how are you, man? How you been?
I'm excellent, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's your lockdown been?
It's been odd, but I suppose still having a job to go to. It's been pretty cocked being able to work from home, so I do feel kind of lucky in that. But yeah, everything's changed.
Yeah, you're the first person I've had say odd. Most people are like either like, yeah, it's all good, or they go, it's fucking shit. And it's kind of like, oh, kind of odd.
It's been a weird time, hasn't it? But I just try to stay as positive as possible, and there's a lot of like bad stuff happening, like people dying, people losing jobs and stuff like that. So I do consider myself lucky. I mean, I think everybody that knows me probably say I'm a pessimist, but I do try my hardest to stay positive.
Did you find like a weird thing at the start, like, I felt like a sudden super positive moment, and that lasted a couple weeks, and then I was like, no, okay, I'm bored now, and then I was like, fuck everything. It was God's sake.
I think it was all the stuff like there was loads of conspiracies coming out, weren't there? And then, but the thing that I thought was really, I was like, yeah, something positive is going to come from this. The environment's gonna get so much better. And you see all those stories coming from
they're like the sky's bluer and there's dolphin in the canals, and I'm like, that was a good 2 days, and now it's like just immediately straight back.
I thought it was the rainbow. We could see the rainbow and stuff, but yeah, it's not. It's still. I don't know what's going to happen with it, man. It's just going to continue.
It's crazy. I did not expect it to last this long. In my head, I was like, it'll be 3 or 4 months. It'll give people a chance to reset, and then we'll be back on it. And now it's like we're like half on it. Everyone's like kind of treading on eggshells with like what's allowed and not allowed, and you don't want to like accidentally piss someone off. Or
I think it's like my worst nightmare has come true. Well, not my worst nightmare, but everyone's saying it now. Like, this is the new normal. Like, it's not going to go back to what we thought was normal.
Yeah, God, I'm not. Fuck that. I'm just like, it's not a fun thought. But then there's like other people who are like, no, it's gonna pass, but there's so much, like you said earlier, there's all these conspiracy theories and stuff out there, and then you're like, I don't know what to fucking think anymore.
It's the stupid thing is, it's just like, I don't want to loads of people are going to kind of lose their jobs, but hopefully when you come out the back end of this, there's going to be loads of jobs created. I mean, even now, so many people working from home. There's things like, if you're into IT, you've probably got quite a lot of opportunities coming up.
100%.
But when it comes to being into, doing music or entertainment, it sucks. Trying to do stuff like...
Yeah, music's the big one that I felt like... But I feel like everyone, like all the music guys I knew, kind of, as soon as lockdown hit, they were immediately like, so what's the plan? They were like immediately doing like loads of people did like live sessions on Instagram, on like online and stuff, or they've been like, we're just gonna write loads of music as much as we can and stuff. It's like the music lot to me seemed like the most acutely aware that this was gonna fuck them, so they had to make the best of it however they could. As ever, like other creators have just kind of been like, well, we'll just see how it goes and just go along with it. But like, you guys have been super like.
I think for me, it's kind of almost like, I think this is another reason why I've been positive, because like I was a bit of a hermit anyway, so now I've kind of got an excuse as to why my friends don't have to drag me out all the time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's good being a musician, just kind of being forced to get your head down and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, where do you get your inspiration from? I mean, like as a photographer, like what?
It's been weird because it's just like you've had to just it's like, because I'm kind of glad that I have stuff that I'm already thinking about before, so I can like build on that a little bit. But it is kind of hard when I'm like, because one of the main things, it was like portrait shoots just basically couldn't do them for ages, unless like I didn't feel you could do them, but I didn't want to be the guy who's like messaging people like, yo, do you want to go out in this pandemic and take some photos? And people are like, no, like what? Like, so it's just like I did like a few things, but it was always people like asking me to come out and do stuff. So obviously that like
being Boris Johnson's top most wanted list for
I'm just annoyed because this is the problem with me being like, like punk skateboarder kid. I just, as soon as it all happened, I just wanted to be like, fuck off, I'll do what I want, like, you know what I mean? But then it was like, and then the other thing, and then you look at the other people who are like, fuck it, I'm not paying attention stuff, and then you go like, maybe there's a line where it stops being fuck you and it becomes like just annoying. So it's like, you need to like, it's like finding that balance of it still being like getting away with it, you know what I mean? Like,
it's I think I just try to take it as serious as possible. I don't want to be like I don't know, obviously sneaking around going skate park and stuff. I'm supposed to be in lockdown and stuff,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm just doing whatever I can to like try and stay positive and stuff. It's as you say, like there's so much uncertainty around it, and like every 2 days they were changing what we're supposed to do. I just kind of
so
stopped
crazy.
listening to the
Even
news
like,
at one point.
yeah, it's unbearable because it's just the same shit, but it's just everything just contradicts each other. Like, it's like when it started, they were like, we got to be careful about asymptomatic spread, and then it was like, what was it, a month or two ago? WHO was like, yeah, so it doesn't really seem to spread that way as much. So it just seems like if you feel ill, stay home. But and then other people are like, no, that's just a conspiracy from the WHO because they're trying to help China, and it all just goes down that rabbit hole, and you're like, fuck.
Oh, guys, yeah.
It's like just crazy. And then it seems like, yeah, conspiracies have gone mad. Are you a conspiracy guy at all? Like,
I find it interesting. Like, so I will always, if I hear about one, I'll have to read about it. But obviously, yeah, I'm not gonna believe it necessarily. I mean,
but it just seems like this year's been just the year of conspiracies becoming like into their own in a way. It just seems like everyone's suddenly acutely aware of like the current conspiracy theories all of a sudden.
It's that thing now, especially as the internet's like the main way people are communicating. I think you have that. I don't know, people can, all those similar like-minded people can kind of come together, and I don't know, these things just kind of get created, don't they? And
people get sucked into the algorithm of Facebook, and they just kind of get into their loop, and then they're all of a sudden they're going 5G caused coronavirus. It's just like, it?
It's funny, like I would have said like maybe a year ago, like, hate scrolling through Instagram and Facebook. But that's pretty much the only way that I'm staying up to date with whatever's happening, and then where I'm getting a lot of inspiration from as well when it comes to just like being creative or just what I want to do. I don't know. It's just
Instagram's a weird one because it's like some people are on there like posting cool shit that they're doing, and then other people you can tell are just like completely just like hanging on, and just they're like Instagrams is the only thing, and it's like, oh man, I feel so bad for you, but also it's just
I've seen
like
a few mental breakdowns and stuff with some musicians and stuff online.
Yeah.
Some of them being complete babies at the beginning of it, but then some people have had some serious like struggles.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like, it's when that kind of happened, I was just like, I don't want to like take the piss out of anything. 'Cause you don't really know what other people are going through. As I was saying at the beginning, like, I haven't lost my job, I haven't lost anybody close to me. So I've had like a different experience. Everyone's experiencing different things.
Do you know anyone who's had it?
Somebody literally that sits about this far away from me at work had it, but luckily I was in and out of hospital and stuff during the week. Like, I think I just about missed that close one.
God, that is
a
lucky
break. Working in a big building, you kind of like pushing your luck, really, aren't you? I've heard a few stories about some big buildings around Northampton that had some bursts.
Yeah, there's been a few. Like, my mum had one where she was in a room with someone who like the next day found out they had it and stuff, but she avoided it or whatever. But
got that strong immune system, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's from all the barbecues, dude, what we do. That's what does it. That's
all the protein.
Yeah, those tomahawk steaks is what fends off coronavirus. It's our solution to it.
They look delicious.
Honestly, oh my god, they're so good. But it's one of those things where my dad will he'll do a barbecue, but he'll be cooking. There'll be like 4 of us, but he'll be cooking for the 5,000. Like, there'll be that much food, so it'll be like the next 3 days it's just like leftovers and stuff. But it's like just so good. And it's like I've gone from like sometimes people posting barbecues and I'll be like, oh, I'm jealous, to now being like, I've got way better. You guys should be jealous of me right now. Like, when I see people's barbecues, I'm like,
barbecues I thought were going to be the saving grace throughout the whole lockdown, but because of the weather's just kind of turned a bit.
Yeah, because it was super nice at the start, wasn't it? It was like super just. It's ironic because I'm always like, I remember being in school and it'll come to September, you'll be like, yeah, summer holidays, boys, and then it just rained for 6 weeks straight. And now this time it's like, yeah, we've got all this time off and it's been super nice, but not the last couple of days. It has took a turn into.
It's getting on my tits now. It just needs a little bit more sunshine.
Yeah, it's meant to be nice this weekend. Saturday's meant to be nice. I've got a keen eye on the weather. Me and my friend Felix are going skating in London, so we're like...
I didn't even know you were a skater, so...
Yeah, man, I didn't know you were a skater until I saw the clip and you did the, nose slid the 3-stair hover.
Yeah, and nearly like broke my ankle. Obviously, I've done something to my foot, and every time I landed something that day, it was just like you could see my foot buckling. But yeah, how long have you been skating for?
Fucking since I was like, I don't know. I remember having skateboards around when I was in like primary school, but I think I probably got into it when I was maybe like 12, 13, and then it's been just that sort of. It's kind of embarrassing because it's like, yeah, I've been skating forever, but I'm shit. But it's one of those things where it's just like you fucking love it and you're addicted to it. It's that's what skateboarding does.
I love the fact that we've come onto this topic, right? Because skateboarding has been one thing that's like made me get out and about through lockdown. Because first time in my life really that I've looked down at my stomach and been like, okay, something's got to give. I need to get off my ass. So I picked up the skateboard for the first time in 2 years and. Go down there, see some familiar faces, some new people that I've met, and like I used to enjoy going down there, but even now, like I've only been going, as I said, like since the beginning of lockdown. But everyone's just sound down there.
Yeah, it's
so a weird one, but it's just I just have such a good time.
It's changed so much. I've noticed, you know, it's really weird because like when I've been at uni and I've been like super focused on photography and stuff, and like the music stuff that I do, and like I've like. It always seemed like separate things, but then all of a sudden it seems like all these guys that I met through music are also like skateboarding. I'm like, how have we never come across each other at the skate park, like ever? That just seems like crazy, like, and they're like good as well. It's not like people just like picking up a board just because it's cool. It's like, oh shit, like you guys can like
for a few years,
yeah, and we've just never crossed path, and it's like, whoa, it's like you. Naps, DB skates, doesn't he as well? And it's
that's
just
how
like,
I met DB when I was 15 at Dane's camp.
Right.
Dane's camp, and they had a ramp in there, so they called it Dane's ramp for the day or something, and that was where I met DB.
Shit, that sounds sick.
Before music or anything.
That's crazy.
I think he was already putting out music, to be fair, at that age. But yeah, it's like as I was saying, skateboarding is it's the community down there is just so sick, and it's all like as you said, there's a lot of people that are into music and. I've had such a good time going down there again. I don't want to stop again.
It's like I say, it's that addicting factor. It's just so good, and it just makes you realise, like, it's like people have been saying about like this lockdown. It's like, oh, it's made me realise that like everything's bullshit and like I'm overdoing it. But like for me, it's like we're having the worst fucking time, and then you go skateboard and you're like, what did I even give a fuck about? It's like this is
releasing all those endorphins.
Yeah, it's like this is me grinding a ledge is more important than. Whatever other shit's going on, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. On one hand, I'm like, it's like people will be like, skateboarding's dangerous because you get hurt. I'm like, it's dangerous because it can just take over your life so easily if you let it. It's like you have to sort of try and control it a little bit if you want to be like sane. Yeah. And again,
but it's just, I don't know. It's just sick, and I have a lot of respect for people that get into it at this age as well. Like, because I think a lot of people will be like, oh, can't do it, but actually, like, I love playing football with mates, but there's just something about skateboarding where you can literally just go down there, whether it's you or another mate, you on your own, or there could be 100 people down there and you struggle to get a go, but
it's just worth it all the time. Is it like funny you should mention people getting into it when they're older? Like Alex Wilson, who I had on, he got into it like last year or something, like because he's got a kid and his kid got into it and then he was like, I think it is,
I met them both at the skate park. That's how I've met them both like literally within the last few months, and his kid's hilarious and
he's so cool. He's the best kid. He's gonna be so fucking good at skateboarding. I can tell, like, couple more years and I'm gonna be like looking up to him like, how are you so good and you're 7 years old or something. I'm gonna be like,
I love to see it because he'll be running around or like going around doing some gnarly stuff at his age, but everyone's just sound. I don't know how to say it. Like, I can remember being a bit younger and maybe certain older lads weren't like too inviting for you to come and skate or... Yeah,
it used to be when like Radlands Plaza that's there now first got there, because me and my friend Felix been going there since it opened. It was, as two like 12-year-old boys who didn't know shit, it was like terrifying sometimes. Just like these gnarly dudes who just going for it, who were like part of that, like the Gap when there wasn't a skate park here, so they were like proper like street skating. Like, to them the park was like really inviting because they were used to just Northampton concrete that will fuck you up. It's like crazy, so it's like gnarly, but it's so sick to see it now, like how it's changed and how many people fucking go.
It's just become such an important. I've seen those people down that don't even skate that I would see at the the pub or whatever like that. It's kind of become like the second pub.
Yeah.
Because you can't really kind of like, I've gone to the pub
Yeah.
a few times because obviously you want to support your businesses and stuff, but like I can't, if I see my mate that I didn't know was out, I can't go and sit with him or whatever. So just go down to the skate park and everyone's there and chilling. Just have such a good time, man.
It is rad. It's kind of it's funny you mention like the pub as well, because like the Gary as we know it now like was like a skate person spot when like Zach took it over, and it was
having
like,
a lot of skate like video nights, which I don't know if they've done one anytime recently, but they did do the now and again. They were going to sell skateboards at one point. I don't know if they still are.
Yeah, I think they've still got the boards up, but I did notice the little like truck and wheel cabinet disappeared, but I'm like, oh man, I hope they still do, but then again, it's like Illicit put boards in, you know, the outpost next to skate park.
Oh yeah.
Illicit's putting boards in there now, so it's like.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's something someone should have jumped on a long time ago.
Yeah, it should have been a skate shop from the start, to be honest. Well, at least once like Skate Attic went.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice for them to get something out for them to be down there. I mean,
exactly.
It's all good when you got a new setup from Skate Attic going down the hill to the skate park. When you break your board and you need to walk up there, it was like, I'm just gonna go home. I miss Skate Attic, man.
Everyone fucking misses Skate Attic. It's so like.
I stopped shredding my Skate Attic board so I could keep it in the best. I was like, I didn't realise actually this means a lot more to me.
I had the you know, the original deck with the lift tower on it, like the first one, like the black and white one, and I fucking snapped it and I wanted to keep it, but then my friend just kept like, for whatever reason, it had no trucks on it. It was just like a snap piece of board, and he kept just like pushing around on it, so the whole bottom came off, and I was like, I wanted to put it on the wall, but he was like, no, I got this idea for a trick. Oh man,
I've told myself I'm going to do a decoration thing out of it for my flat one day, but who knows.
My friend Felix still has one, because he got one, and then that's when he like fucked up his leg. So he like got it was fresh, he tried this hill, fucked up his leg, couldn't skate for 2 years. So it was like, after everyone else had broke theirs and had disappeared, he still had basically a new one, and then he just was like, I'm not skating that, I'm buying a new board to use that and keeping the
We've had a couple of people do, like including myself, debating whether to skate them, but I don't know, it's weird. I've noticed as I've got older, when you kind of don't notice history going by until it's kind of like, I'm there being nostalgic about like, I mean, I really like grime and jungle and garage and stuff, but I wasn't around when that was all happening, so I get really nostalgic about that. Like, I miss history, but actually we've kind of been the part of like, thinking about all the stuff that's happened in the time in Northampton that I've been here, like Skate Attic and stuff like that. It's just...
I have somewhere, and if I hate to say that I've lost it, but I know it's in my room somewhere. It's a Skate Attic badge that on the Radlands Plaza opening day, my dad took me there, and I was like dicking around on my BMX, and then my dad came up and he was like, oh, this guy says he's starting like a clothing brand, and he gave me some badges, and they were like Skate Attic badges, and I was like, oh, there's tiny little ones, and I'm like, that's so cool, because like,
that's mine.
Like because even my Skate Attic t-shirt, I had the t-shirt, and I used to do this thing where I'd like, you carry your skateboard like grip tape in, so I just have rips all up my shirt.
Spend all day walking around with it, like, so people could see that you were skating.
Yeah, or it would just like, no, like I'd skate too, but then you'd be like, oh, let's go to, like when I was doing it, it always used to be like, oh, we'll meet at Radlands, and then we'd get scared of the locals, so we'd go street skate, so we'd have to like go somewhere else and like
walk up a hill because you can't skate anywhere in this town.
Yeah, or I was one of those kids that just bring my skateboard, like didn't matter what we were doing, it was like, oh, we're going for a night out, I'm skating there, you know, and then I have to carry it around all night, and then I skate home drunk at 3 a.m, and it's like, oh, but yeah.
We've taken skateboards to Amsterdam and stuff like that, and like when you get there and you realise you're not going to do a lot of skating.
It doesn't matter, but you might. There's the off chance that you see a spot, you know what I mean? There's like this Saturday with me and Felix, like we're going to a photography exhibition, like a music photography exhibition, but then even when we were DMing each other, I was like, are we bringing boards? And it was like, I was about to ask you the same thing, like, yes, we're bringing fucking boards, and it's like...
What about, as a photographer, do you feel like you like always have to have a camera on you as well? Because I always have to have a plectrum in my pocket.
A plectrum? Just in case someone has a guitar.
Yeah.
Like, just in
Someone's
case.
like, you play the guitar, I'll be like,
yes, it's for matter of fact. But it's like a weird thing in photography where you'll read like a lot of these like photography blogs and shit, and they're always like, can't really call yourself a real photographer if you don't always have a camera on you, and then I'm like, but with skateboarding, no one said like you're not a real skateboarder unless you have a skateboard. Like skateboarding's always the opposite because it's just like a mindset. You know what I mean? So it's just like you're
I don't know,
you're a
I've had you-
skateboarder or you're fucking not.
Are you a skateboarder? Because your shoes don't look like they're damaged enough. You haven't got
It's like-
trampy shoes.
Yeah, you don't dress like a homeless person. Your clothes are all fucked up. Yeah, I see that side of it as well because there's a lot of people like that. But in photography, there's this thing where it's like, if you're a photographer, you should always have your camera on you, and that makes me sometimes want to be like, fuck, I'm not bringing the camera with me then,
Yeah.
just to spite those
Sweet.
people. Yeah, just because I'm doing it my way, I'll bring it if I want to bring it. You know what I mean? Which most of the time I do want to bring it, so I ended up bringing it anyway.
It's
But
like,
it's
a lot of the time I'll be in the shower or I'm about to fall asleep and a melody might come in my head.
that's always the worst.
And then I'm just
Or-
I'm not going to record that. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It must feel the same as that.
I get that with I've had it a few times with photography, but it's like with photography it's then I have to like, you know, contact people and like organize it and bring it together. Skateboarding though, it's like you're lying in bed and you're like, what if this trick at this spot, and then what the inevitable thing that happens is you go to that spot, realize it's nothing like what you thought it was like when you saw it in the car passing
Yeah.
through the window, and then it's not even skatable, and you're like, fuck, we've walked all this way for no
So
reason.
not skatable, or it's too big to skate, or you twist your ankle as soon as you get there or something.
Or you've thought of some amazing trick and then realised you can't do the trick at all. And you've-
Oh, do you think if I could backside? Wait, I can't do a backside. Yeah, I've had many a dream like that.
yeah, it's just like I blame like Skate 3 for shit like that, because like
Yeah.
Skate 3 lets me skate how I wish I could skate in real life, but you just like, and then you kind of trick yourself into thinking you're better than you are, and then you go skating and then you have that awful session where you're like, fuck, I can't even land an ollie. I'm like, what am I doing?
That's happened to me way too many times.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And I'm excited for the next skate to come out. I think I might actually.
Yeah, because it is happening.
Yeah.
I remember that. I'm like, yes. I got there's 2 other games that came out, Session, and then my friend recently got me onto one called Skater XL.
So since I found out about Skater 4, I did a bit of research and I've watched some videos of people playing that, and it's the most irritating thing watching people play games. I don't know how people do that online, but yeah,
Right.
I've seen them and they look sick.
They are fun as hell, man. They're
Yeah.
so fun. They're like, they're weird because I think they're because they're both kind of being constantly like updated and stuff, but they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So Session's trying to be like super hardcore 90s, like gives you nothing. Like you have to like line up grinds perfectly, and you have to like hold
Yeah.
down the like pressure for how you want to do the grind stuff. But Skater XL's a bit more forgiving,
Yeah.
but it also like I want to be the type of guy who's like, no, I prefer Session because it makes you actually fucking try and earn it. But then I'll still like
It's
realistically, I'm like, which one am I gonna pick? You know, the one that gives
you
me
can
it.
do this amazing trick on,
Yeah.
the one that you're terrible at. Yeah.
Exactly, but they're both super fun, and it's like,
I struggle, man. I used to play games a lot. It was Call of Duty days. I mean, all the way through until probably like Call of Duty 10 or whatever that. Now I was playing.
how many are there
I
of
don't
those
know.
fucking games?
So
They're
I
like-
played COD 4 for a long time, and I started making music, and then I just kind of told myself like I need to always be productive with my time.
Yeah, that's what like skateboarding did for me with video games, because video games are like, I love them and hate them, because
Yeah.
when I was growing up I was part of that thing where like, oh, my friends just play video games all the time, so I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing. And then you realise it's like, oh, this is like really bad for you, like mentally and physically and stuff. It's just like awful. And then it's like, and then you realise you stop skating, and then you're like, that's where I draw the line. It's like, I may not have done my homework for the last fucking 6 years at school. I may have terrible grades. I may not have that many friends. But now I've realised that I haven't been skateboarding 2 weeks. It's
Yeah.
like, fuck you. Now you've gone too far, and I have to fucking change something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a weird thing. But now I like play games again. But I feel like I have the self-control to be like, okay,
Yeah.
turn it off and do anything else. And
Use it as something to kind of like wind me down. Well,
Mm.
not when I get Skate 4, I can see myself using it as something to wind down and like switch off. Whereas I think before, when I was a bit younger, it would just be come back from school, get on the Xbox, everyone's shouting at me that I'm not being sociable, even though I'm talking to my friends. And then, yeah, I don't know, just become a hermit.
Yeah, I did that, that was my cycle, like home from school, Xbox on. Okay, it's 1 a.m, maybe I should go to bed, and then
And then now we're supposed to be in lockdown. It's like
I don't want to play.
I don't want
now.
to. I want to stay and I want to go out and do stuff.
Yeah, I want to go do stuff.
So
I think that's the problem. I got myself super into like skateboarding, super into photography, and then it's like this lockdown's like, you can't really do those things as you want to do them. You know what I mean? But it's like fuck. But it's like giving me time to like think about them and get really stoked. So I know when I can get back on it properly, it's just gonna be all out, like just going for it. And I'm like, I can feel that in like music as well. A lot of people are keen to get back to doing gigs and stuff, which is great for me because I do gig photography. So I'm like,
it's gonna be jokes when it all comes back. I think I mean some locals have been putting on some like parties and stuff like that, like out in fields and stuff like that, and everyone's just having such a sick time. I just think, you know what the saying is, what is it? When you don't have something, you miss it. Yeah,
so, you appreciate it once it's gone, you know what I mean?
And I think a lot of the times you would go out and it would be like every other week you're out at the same club and kind of like listening to similar tunes and stuff like that, and it's a bit like, but now I just...
You wanna...
I'm gagging to kind of go out and just do something and see people and like have a dance. Like I'd just be there bobbing my head or whatever. But now I want to go out.
You just want to go wild. You just want those few like just go out and fucking do it. Because I'm like not really a club person. Like I never have been. I'll go sometimes, but even through this, I've been like, man, I miss just like going to a club, or like even those nights where like when the Gary's got that certain vibe where it turns from pub to feeling more like a club from whatever. I don't know how they do it, but they just sort of figure out those nights.
Like certain days, like when there's something else going on, but because it's kind of like the hub. If there is literally nothing going on, everyone will come there, and it just ends up being such a sick night.
Yeah, but it's scary as well because it feels like almost random. Like there'll be some event where I'm like, that'll be huge, and then you go and it's kind of like, well, where the fuck is everyone? And then other times it'll be like, oh, I think there's this band on or something. I've never really heard of them, but we should go check it out because there's nothing to. And then it's like, oh, everyone's here.
It is weird how I don't know. You can never really predict stuff. When you do a gig, you just got to assume the worst really, and then hope that it turns out good. But
yeah, it's
something could happen the week before, and then people don't have any money. Like or something happens the night before, and they're all like decide they're going to go and do something else, or a football match was on and then they can't be asked because they've had too many beers.
It's super. Yeah, it's like a game of psychology of figuring out when the prime time to strike is, just so you can.
But that's what I think. As it comes back, it's gonna be hard. It's not just gonna come back to normal in terms of the lockdown. Sorry, it isn't just gonna like click our fingers. It's gonna keep back how it was, and I think as we start coming back and those first few events that happen, just got so much potential to be like such a good vibe. And as you said, when you just have that atmosphere in the Boldy,
and just everyone's like hungry for it.
Everyone's just I just like I might not know half the people here, but I just know everyone's just sound. Just want to have a good night.
Is there anyone who you're like super like stoked to do, like if like of all the musician guys, the bands or whatever? Is there anyone who you're like, they better fucking do something at the start because it's going to be the maddest thing?
I mean, it's hard to say. There's loads of different people doing different stuff. There's people that I knew that like don't like whether it's a rapper or a DJ or whatever. Obviously, DJ's a bit easier to put an event on than it is for you to be a rapper and have to get the microphone and everything sorted or whatever. But I think there's a lot of new music made by rappers and singers and stuff that I know is sick. So hopefully it's just hard when you're doing stuff in this town because there isn't. I mean, the Boldy's sick. Don't get me wrong, but other than that, there isn't that many places to do stuff, and even the few places there are to do stuff, it's kind of like a bit of a pain in the ass to do it, and that's why I love the Boldy because they make it really easy for you to do something there, so it doesn't feel like this massive chore, and you don't have to like give them a massive deposit in case something happens, and then they find an excuse to not give you your money back, and like they just sound there, so I think. The first few things that happen at the Boldy, it's just going to be sick, definitely. Because I can just imagine the vibes. It's going to be like.
I miss being in that little tiny box room downstairs, like their basement that's like half the size of this, and there'd be like, fuck, how many people do you reckon they can fit in that room?
I don't know, but you get a few people in there, and then it feels full, so it just like everyone starts going a bit.
Yeah, it's like perfect for like punk stuff. Yeah, like if you get a band down there that just goes off and everyone's like hyped, it's like just
We've had some
crazy.
funny nights there, man. I do enjoy it.
Good.
And as I said, like, there's other artists and stuff that might do a performance there or something like that.
Mhm.
That we'll see what happens, but
Yeah, do you know what? I've been fucking, like, just so... The one event of all the shit that got cancelled, the one that I'm like, fuck, that was they're gonna be the best shit ever, even before lockdown, was DB was gonna do the thing on the Ark.
yeah.
And I remember, like, seeing the poster and then immediately it being like, cancelled. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, that would have been so fucking
Yeah,
good.
We were. That was kind of like we were going to do an NNR event there, but it's kind of like if you're going to do an event there, you're going to invest money and not get any money back.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I think it's going to be sick because it's you can only have a certain amount of people in there. So
Yeah, case of
the
sinks.
people that do come, it's just going to be sick because everyone
Yeah.
will be like. That's the good thing about the Baldy, like you don't have to fill this massive room for there to be the atmosphere, and the few people that are there because they want to be there and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just,
it's not like a pub where people like, when you have like the generic pub where there's people who go there just because they want to go for a drink, which people do. But if there's an event on, it's like people are switched onto it where it's like everyone's there for this thing, like regardless of what it is. Like
there's so many like. Whether it's a group of DJs or like a band or something like that, just all these like cool things, and I just I can't wait. I'm hoping that all these people that I know that are doing this stuff are recording stuff and planning to release stuff so we can get a taste of it. Because when are the events going to happen? I don't know. Yeah,
it could be 2 months from now. It could be 2 years from now, which is like, I just want to get on with it. And like, especially Gary has all bases covered as well, because like. It's like you go there, it'd be music, they do like the gallery stuff that they're already like brought back, or it's like, we do the quizzes, which I mean, every pub does a quiz, but they have the best quiz, in my opinion. And then like, they also do like Home Charm Projects go and does a party there for like their clothesline and stuff, and it's like, sick.
They just switch, they just want, I suppose the reason why they've had their success, like Tom being an absolute geezer, and just wanting to support everybody doing stuff, and that's the only way you're going to really like reach beyond your circle of friends is by like having
just
like
embracing
a community,
it all.
like I don't know, it's sick.
It's that thing, this weird thing in the town at the moment where everyone just wants to build it. As I feel like when I was younger, and I've spoken to other people as well, they're just like, it just felt like everyone wanted to get the fuck out and like.
I mean, luckily all those people have moved to London or wherever they've moved to.
Yeah.
And the people that are here are, as you say, wanting to kind of just do something good, or like shout about the good things that are happening or whatever. Yeah,
Alex Potton turned me onto the funny thing that he noticed on Instagram, where people would put something on Instagram and they'd say like in the location tag they'd put like Soho, and he'd be like, that's the Welly Road, what are you doing? Or you'd have like models he's like, I know they live in Northampton, and in their thing they're like based in London, and it's like, no you're not, stop lying.
I don't know, me and some of my mates were having this discussion the other day, like, has it become cliche to be like, I'm from this place, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not from London, I'm from Northampton, or to be like, I'm from London. I don't know, sometimes that doesn't matter, but
it shouldn't matter, but it's like, it's one of those things where we always hear how shit it is, so we're like, you just want to like prove them wrong, or you want to be like, I don't know, it's like, it's shit, but we're having fun. You know what I mean?
That was why we started doing the NNR thing, and kind of wanted to link it to Northampton, because it was like, everyone wants to shoot Northampton down, and like, there's nothing going on there, but in that way, that's where we have our own things going on. I don't know, we're not just like getting a London club night to come and arrange to do a gig here anymore. Like, everyone's doing their own thing. Yeah,
and people get so much stoked for like people who are from the town doing it, and it's like good shit as well. It would be like the most sad, pathetic thing ever if there was like people like fake getting stoked for artists that everyone's kind of like, they're kind of shit. But then you actually look into it, and we have so many like just sick bands and sick artists as well, like whether they're rappers, DJs, fucking doing whatever they're doing, and they're doing it like as like best as they can, and like just keep getting better, and like
just supporting each other and putting each other on, and
and everyone just wants it to be like a thing without, I don't know, it's like this weird thing where it's like you want it to be a thing, but you don't want to like blow it out, like you don't want it it's like, how close can we get to the cliff before we jump out the car, and just like before it goes too much, it's like, like a fear of selling out the town.
In a way, like, I don't know, it's everybody obviously like wants to jump on that like rep your ends and like 01604 or whatever, and I think it's sick in a way, because it's just like, it's all something that we can all relate, like somebody was going, oh, you could just shove something on a t-shirt and people are going to buy it because it's something to do with Northampton. I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah, but
What's wrong with that?
your fucking shirt was like the one that even my like my friends who fucking weren't like living in Northampton, gone to uni and other fucking places, have been like, they saw when you posted it and like I put it on my story, they must be like, that's fucking sick. Where do I get one? The 01604, the phone one. Everyone got so hyped about that one. Just even they were like, yeah, man.
That was an idea we had floating around for ages, and I think we had a few different designs, but then I don't know why, but yeah,
it just works. There's something about it. It was like, it was like, because like the NN thing, like everyone knows it. Like 01604 was like a bit more subtle.
It's actually, if you go back a little bit further into the right, if you go a little bit further back into the Northampton culture, there was a song. This is one of the first times that I ever heard grime music from a Northampton artist, and it made me actually kind of like not just dismiss it, because I'd hear it on Channel U when I was a bit of a rocker kid and not give it a chance. But then I heard 01604 tune with, I can't remember who was on it other than like Victor. Stats, I think. And I always used to play it when I was DJing when I was a bit older, but yeah, 01604 was like what everyone used to always say in the grime tunes and stuff to kind of rap Northampton.
So it's like a callback. It's that nostalgia thing.
That's why we went for the retro phone, because it kind of reminded me of the days that everyone would. In fact, it was probably a bit like by that point everyone had Bluetooth and sending each other the songs or whatever. But what was the other one? Red. What's the infrared? You remember you used to have like touch your phones together to send the songs. You know, nah.
On which phones? Like on the
on like literal. I don't know if it was probably a bit newer phone than the Nokia one that we used in that photo, but yeah, we used to have to like touch the end of our phones together to send each other tunes.
I've never heard of that.
And it was around that time that I actually first made my own remix of a song that was like something about like a sweat dripping down the booty or something like that. It was like the most cringy, like, but I made like a refix of it. Amazing. And everyone was sending it round to each other at school on infrared.
God, you must have felt like an absolute baller having everyone send it round to each other
for
and
the 2
stoked.
days until everyone realised that like donk music was terrible or whatever it was. I don't know.
One of the subgenres. God,
it's funny thinking about like nostalgia definitely sells, and I think the Northampton thing definitely sells to people in Northampton, and I've had a lot of other people, because obviously like being a record label is not everything that we're doing. We've just kind of done it because we know we're doing events, and most of the people supporting us at the minute are from Northampton.
Yeah,
and I've come up with the idea. So
it gives you like that strong, like whatever you're doing, it's like gives you that strong base. You know what I mean? Like, because there's people who just like you say earlier, you like slap NN on a shirt and people are gonna buy it.
I remember like just watching like videos of like NWA and stuff, and they were wearing the Compton hat, and I just wanted it to kind of that so cool. We've never really had like the grime scene or the jungle scene or something in Northampton, but let's try and have like something going on now where everyone can kind of wear the hat and be like, yeah, we're all in the hip hop gang.
And it has become a thing. It's like Laura on the Happy Hood, she was saying like no one owns it. There's like like your NNR, there's 35NN, and there's Hometown Projects that like had that. Was it Lift NN as well?
I think Lift NN was their hashtag that they started to try and like, if you're spreading positivity about Northampton, then use Lift NN hashtag. But.
And there's so many people who just like Insta bio, it's like NN on the end.
There's a guy that lives down the road from me that was putting all those signs up on the race course that would
I think he Goodwill Painting or whatever.
He sounds jokes, but
and everyone's like,
I think
stoked for it.
For me, I can't even remember noticing that the shop Common used to have the NN at the end of it until later on when I was making music with Ty, and because he's good friends with the guy that owns Common, so they were like, I think that's where Ty kind of started doing the NN thing a little bit.
Right. So
and really that was where it all kind of, obviously as I said, like there was the 01604 back in the day, but I think the whole NN thing, as far as I'm concerned, Ty got the idea from the Common thing to be like, oh yeah, everybody in Northamptonshire NN, and then he made a song called like NN or something like that, or I can't remember what happened, but
yeah,
said it in a few tunes, and then it kind of started becoming a thing.
It took off from there. He was
and yeah, as I said, it's like sick because it's just the funny thing is, yeah, I've even seen there's a company like in the industrial estate over where the Royal Mail place is. That's literally NNR, and I was like, what the?
They stole it from you. Dude.
Yeah,
you have to sue them.
There you go. You literally use as well similar colours as well, but it just makes me laugh because it's just like I didn't really notice it, and then now I've noticed it, and then
it's just like fucking everywhere now.
It's quite a lot of people doing it.
Yeah,
it's sick because we can all relate to it, and I almost like if I see something like that, I'm like, cool, that person kind of, as you say, cares about Northampton, wants to push it forward, so I'm gonna give it a chance. There's so much other shit that been posted on the internet, but I want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I fucking just completely like not forgot about Common, but like when you said it, I was like, yeah, it did.
Yeah. I literally never registered to me until later on when everyone started.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Common because I always used to, because obviously you'd go basically behind the counter and then up to skate at it, and every time you'd feel bad, you'd like walk into Common, the guy would be like, oh, you alright? And they're like, yeah, I'm going upstairs.
I think for me, I was too young to buy, like I wasn't interested in those clothes because it was too smart, even though it was kind of like skate smart.
I think the only friends who I had who were like using Common were the guys who like when Dickie jeans became like a thing, like the work trousers when they came in, and like 2014 they were like Dickie trousers and no complies, and then Common sold Dickies and people were like, that was the thing.
I've been getting cheap 874s and Dickies trousers off of Dickies Workman's website. You can get them for like £3.50 in sale, mate. That's my problem. I think I've never really been that bothered about. I've gone through phases of buying like Ralphie's and stuff like that, but fashion is, I can't justify spending the money on, like if I bought a Ralphie, that's 40 quid, 60 quid or something for a t-shirt, innit? Do you know how many records I could buy with that?
Exactly, and you get so much more out of
a
records.
Deck
you know
and
what
some
I mean?
wheels or something like.
Imagine how much fun you could have on that skateboard. But like having fun on a skateboard is directly goes into ruining clothes as well. Exactly. So it's like you don't want to have these sick arms, and then you're like, oh, now it holds me back skateboarding.
I've just got to say this as well. No, you just reminded me, like the amount of times I was so embarrassed when I was younger because I'd spend probably twice as much on my shoes than most other lads would, but mine looked like I was a tramp because I had all the holes in it from skating, and all the girls would be like, "What happened to your shoes?" And like, they cost me £120.
I was the same way, man, because I had friends who were like just had like whatever shoes they'd get given or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, like, how much did you spend on those Vans?" I'm like, "Oh, they're the anti-hero ones with like," they were like special edition TNT anti-hero ones that I got. I was so stoked, and they cost me like 90 quid, and they'd just be like, and you're gonna wreck them? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wreck them, and I'm gonna like they're gonna look even sicker when they got holes in them.
It's a radical lifestyle.
Yeah, I wear shoes like maybe too long, and well, the people they say too long because they have holes in the bottom, and then I'm like, how long do I have those for? And they're like, yeah, maybe 6 months at most. And other people are like, these shoes have lasted me 4 years, and I'm like, how? You didn't go out enough, clearly.
I try and get in that habit of like wearing my skate shoes before I skate them, so I kind of feel like I've
you
like,
get
got
some use out of them that isn't
them.
just like destroying them. I've got holes in my shoes now. Like I can feel one like that, the ollie hole, that one on like the side of your foot.
We're coming back to a full circle now, aren't we? Because that's how you know you're a true skater.
Yeah,
as
that
you
hole.
said before, yeah.
And then also like if you see someone with that hole on both shoes, you know they're good.
Yeah,
it's
like
they're doing switch tricks.
Or
Damn.
me and my friend Jed occasionally would swap shoes because he skates regular and I skate goofy. There's a little
so you just swap over.
Yeah. So like, because obviously he'd wear one down and I'd wear the other down, so we just swap for a bit.
Right. Is that Jed Basin?
Yeah. Jed Shred.
He worked with my uncle for a while.
Did you? What job was it?
My uncle's a plumber or something.
Okay.
But it was my uncle used to skate when he was little, and then all of a sudden I was going through Instagram one day and it was Jed's account, and it was like, that's my uncle like trying to do an ollie on Jed's board or whatever. I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh my god, it's my uncle.
Such a
like,
small place, isn't it, man?
It's crazy.
I found that like everybody knows everybody, and I don't know this, but I kind of love it in the same way, like because
yeah, it's a weird thing because it's like everyone knows everyone, but we're like a massive town. Like people forget it's
the biggest
like
town that's not as
not a city basically, because we're big enough to be a city, but we don't have like the right cathedral. Because we have a cathedral, but it's like the wrong kind or some bullshit. It's just
cathedral's not big enough,
and we're never gonna get it because I found out this because apparently at some point we were involved with the thing where we were like, we're going to overthrow the Queen, so we're like still on the naughty list.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you work in like government affiliated shit in Northampton, you have to sign a thing that's like, I'm on the Queen's side. Still to this day.
What, like 400 years later?
Yeah, you have to sign a thing that's like, I promise I'm not gonna
That
like
is
plan to
hilarious.
kill her, and it's like, oh my god.
That is really weird.
And like no one else has to, but we do.
That's like the fact that you'd find on the back of a penguin or something.
Penguin.
Or what was it,
Yeah.
Froobs that had the fact on it? I can't remember.
Yeah, penguins had the jokes and Froobs had the facts. I think. God.
Froob facts, yeah.
God, in your lunchbox every day. It's the most learning I did at school, I think. was that shit.
I think I can remember getting to the last year of primary school and realising that we had the same lessons at the same times every week. That was how much attention I used to pay. Oh dear.
I don't even think I figured that out until I got a timetable in secondary school and went, wait, we have to do the same thing every week.
This sucks, man. This is so repetitive. But
Yeah.
they're like, you've been doing this for years.
And you only just realise. When did you ever have that thing like at some point in school where you just like fucking started to hate it?
This is funny. I don't think I've ever even told anybody this, but I do remember I was quite like, I wasn't like a boffin or well or clever or whatever, but I wasn't naughty or whatever. Just like cracking jokes every now and again, but I never really got into trouble.
Yeah.
And I did quite well, and until I got about year 9, I remember this bird. My girlfriend at the time broke up with me, and I remember at that time I was just like, oh fuck it, I can't be arsed anymore. So I just started like just constantly cracking jokes and getting into a little bit more trouble, not for being like a dick, but just for cracking jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Amazing.
yeah, I can remember like my grades did probably suffer off the back of that, you know, because.
But your humour improved, dude.
Yeah. Oh dear.
It's so crazy. I find it. I still have to like think for a second when people are like, "Oh, I was at school with my girlfriend or whatever," because I'm like, I went to an all boys school. So the idea of being in year 9 and having girls around just makes no sense. And it was like, me and Felix were talking about it last night. Like, he's like, now we're at uni and stuff, and we're like, obviously he went to college afterwards. I did A levels, and it was mixed then, but it was still wasn't. There was like NSB 6 1, it was like, no, you're coming into our world and you're going to deal with it. But then you go to uni and everyone's kind of like, where's the limit? Because when I was at school with all boys and we're all awful, there was no filter on anything. You could say anything and people would just go with it, and it would
A lot of my friends went to NSB, and I nearly actually put it down as one of my options. I can remember going there and they were really strict on the induction thing. I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, it's really strict, but we're like the worst out of everyone. Because I have friends at the moment who like went to like Malcolm Arnold and shit,
yeah.
and they're always like, yeah, everyone at my school was naughty and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but since I've left school, there's been like 4 or 5 people who I did lessons with who are now in prison for like gnarly shit, and they're like,
it's that atmosphere you're growing up with all the testosterone pumping around.
Possibly, it just turned them into, yeah, because it was like we left 6 months after I left school. It was like, have you heard about Lee Warren? He's been done for murder. And it's like, what the fuck?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and it was like, everyone's getting arrested for not like, no one's getting arrested for petty shit. Like, everyone's all in on like doing just crazy shit.
Is there like a secret society of like teachers teaching crime and
possibly an extracurricular activity that you had to go to, and they're like, so here's how you rob people, here's how you manage your drug empire, here's how to hide guns in a house. It's like,
I think it's weird. A lot of the stuff we talked about, I've been talking about with people recently. So like the other day, I was literally saying like, I know so many more people now from Northampton that do music from NSB than any other secondary school.
NSB has
or
like
sixth form or
a
whatever.
music, there was like a music thing at NSB.
I went to Northampton College to do music, and less people are still doing music from that college course than people that I know that still do it. That didn't.
Yeah, because NSB when you go to NSB, you have to do this one type of test, which is literally like, does this shape fit into this hole and shit. Like, it's crazy. And then there's one where it's like a seesaw, and it will be like a square, a circle, and a triangle, and it'll be like, copy this on the other side. And that's like
That sounds well weird.
It's so weird, and
Yeah.
it takes like 40 minutes, and you're like, what was that? I'm like, what? And then you have the option of doing they call it like a technology exam, which is the same thing, but you do it on a computer, which I did because apparently like I was always.
I think
a
they were
nerd.
just testing your patience. I think.
Yeah, well, it was. There was a trick in it that I figured out. So basically, it's 2 spreadsheets, right? You do the first one, you put in your answers, and then it's like, now go to the next one and check your answers. But it's like one that's already been filled out with like wrong shit. And like on the first one, I was like, because most of the time when it's like check your answers, I'm like, nah, I ain't checking my answers. I know, But on this one, it was like deliberately muddled them up, and then I was like, I definitely didn't answer that 2 + 2 = 5. Like I know I didn't answer that, and then it was like, just try and trick you. But then the other optional one is a music one. Okay. So there's a lot of like real like like music kids who go to NSB because it's like, if you do know a musical instrument, you have the advantage to get in or whatever the fuck. So that's why there's like kids who have been doing it since they're 2 years old and then don't stop and keep doing it.
I think, well, this is my personal opinion, but then have the distraction of females.
Yeah, but we had the distraction of each other. It was like, it was just like the funniest shit. Like, because there was no, like, oh, we have to make sure we're like good and proper. You know what I mean? Like, it always felt like.
But I almost feel like being around other boys, I almost would probably have concentrated on music more, because it's like, well, I want to be really good at music, or whatever. But when I don't know, when it didn't matter if you were good at football or music or whatever at school, it was just did you have the gift of the gab, I think, and that was like a lot of time spent going to parties and wasting money.
Yeah, true. I think with boys as well, because you like guys are just competitive as well. Yeah. So like if you and your buddy were doing like the same course, you'd want to fucking
to this day. Me and we've had a few more people get involved now, but we do every week a beat race or a 1 hour beat session. So someone chooses a brief or puts a sample in the chat, and then we all have to make a song from it in an hour.
Oh shit, that's sick.
Which is like another, like as you say, like keeping up that testosterone-y kind of competitive.
But it's like it's not a bad thing. It's like you're pushing each other. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't let you do that. Like when you're in a competition, you can't do that. Like good enough thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm going to do it as best as possible. I'm just not really want to finish the song, whereas a lot of the time I'll be like, oh, I've just wrote 1 chord, so I'll go and make a cup of tea and chill out for an hour, listen to that chord on repeat for another 3 hours, and then, that sounds good like that, actually. And then the worst thing is when you have like a idea for a bit further into something you're doing, and then you go like, oh, I've done a little bit of work, I'll lay off, I'll come back to it later, and then you come back to it later and you're like, oh, I forgot what I was going to fucking say or do. You're like, fuck, I've lost it. Yeah, and then you have to. That does happen. Yeah. Or even just like making music electronically, it's weird, like you need to get your workflow sorted, so it's not just like picking up a guitar or piano and being able to play it, and sometimes it's like getting a sample and you go, I've got an idea for it, but then you have to sit there with a mouse and click around to and then it's just, if you don't know how to do it really quickly, by the time you actually breaks your flow,
and your flow's gone, and you forget what you're doing, and then the song ends up being completely different to how you imagined it, and then maybe a year later I'll listen back to it and be like, that sample's sick, I was going to do that with it, weren't I? But I just ended up doing the worst thing. Like, it's like I said earlier, like when you're laying in bed and I like get a skate trick that comes to me, and then I'm like, oh my god, tomorrow I'm going to fucking go to the skate park, try this trick, and it's going to be the best session ever. And then you go there and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just like, oh, I'll just cruise around a little bit, and then you end up just doing the shit you already know, and then you go home and you're like, oh, I never even tried that fucking trick, and then you're like, I've had more time for self-reflection though. Like, I feel like I've got better at skating, and when I want to go and skate, I can go and do it because I don't have to go to work and drive back from work and have all that time taken up in my day. So that's another positive that's definitely come out of everything that's happened this year. You can just go and do it. There's no like waiting around. Just not having any distractions really. Like, once work's done, I'm finished, I close my laptop and I'm like, right, the world's my oyster in a way. Yeah. As long as I'm not within 1 metre distance of anyone else, yeah. But that's the beauty of like skateboarding or like making music. You can do it on your own. You know what I mean? It's like you can just grab your board and then do whatever the fuck you want. It's like it doesn't matter what anyone thinks or says, and it's like, and then if they get in 1 metre of you, you can blame them. Like, just get out of the way.
So,
Yeah, with that is kind of I think a skateboard's about a meter's distance, so I just go around holding it out in front of me.
It's just like a beating fucking stick to keep people away. Like,
it's been good though. I mean, this whole time, as I said, doing stuff like that beat thing, going down to the skate park, trying to go down the pub, and remembering to book a table and stuff like that in time, so we can actually go down there and.
Yeah, it's a weird concept that I'm. The day that you can just be like an hour before, be like to your mate, like, oh, do you want to go down to Gary, and then just go and not have to be like, are we going to turn up, and they're going to be like, no, we're booked out, and then you're like, oh.
It's weird, but as I said, I've got more time for myself, and then you have to be more organised in a way. So I feel like my life is, I feel a little bit more professional now. Now I'm having to organise my shit.
It's like weird because you've been given all that freedom, and it's actually made everyone like improve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot less people just being like, fuck it, who cares? It's like everyone wants to be like, there's no other influence but me on how organised I am, so I'm just doing it for myself. That's it. It's no longer like
people are being more healthy and turning like trying to eat less meat or eat more fruit or whatever like that. I've heard from so many of my family and friends that they've made like a positive change in this time.
It's like the perfect time to like do it because you don't get like caught up in other bullshit and then you just like forget about it, or you just say fuck it, I don't care. Like, plus I can't think of any. I'm trying to think of, have I made any changes? Not really, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'm slacking.
Your lockdown resolutions.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
I think you have. You started doing podcasts.
True, but that was like, I've been trying to do this for like since maybe like start of last year.
Yeah.
Like honestly, but it was like when we moved here, this garage was like filled floor to ceiling with stuff. Like you could not even walk in here. It was insane. And then it was just through this lockdown it like cleared out, and I was like, I have the space for it because I was meant to be doing them through. This project's been so weird. It's taken so many like twists and turns because originally it was going to be a photography project, as most of my stuff is, because obviously I did the musicians one, and then I was like, but there's so many other people in Northampton that's doing stuff that isn't music, but it's still like doing stuff, like whether it's creative or just like anything. So I was like, oh, I don't really want to do like the same thing again, just with different people, So then it was going to be a video series, and I was going to do like 6 parts of just like basically just go hang out with someone, and then just go to like cool spots in Northampton or whatever. So I could just be like, oh, like one of them was going to be like, the band Tragic.
Yeah, like, Tragic the band, I think.
Tragic the band. Yeah, we were going to go with them and then just hang out, dick around, and then they were going to do like a gig at the Gary or something, because they were like, yeah, we've got some lined up at some point, which obviously never happened. And then I was kind of like, oh, we could still do it in lockdown or whatever, kind of, but then it was just like, I needed a videographer, I needed like other shit, and it's so busy, and then it just got down to like, a podcast is so simple. It's like, I just press a button.
I listen to them all day at work now, because obviously it's like, I've not got the noise of the office around me, so sometimes if I'm doing something a bit mindless, I need something other than music, because I can't listen to music 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's been really good. As I said, I listened to not all of. I think I've listened to 2 of the ones that you've done so far, not the one that you've just posted today. But it's just good to have on and try and listen.
They're super good. I have noticed though, because it's like, but apparently I didn't realise like through lockdown, loads of people have done it, which I'm becoming aware of now, because like I'll turn on the TV and it'll be like Claudia Winkleman's new podcast. I'm like, why is everyone doing it? I guess it is like the logical kind of thing just to do, because it's so easy.
Trying to capitalise on it. If they've already got a following but they're not making their money from acting or doing these things, then they're just going to try and capitalise on their following, aren't they? A little bit.
Yeah, which like it makes sense. Like they want to be, like no one wants to be like sitting around doing nothing, because you just go crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? You just be like, oh,
it was the same. It's like
something.
Doing the live streams that I do. And then the lockdown happened, I was like, this is bloody perfect time, but then I got an ear infection, but I literally couldn't like put headphones on because it was so unbearable, the screaming in my ears and stuff. So I was like, alright, and I started getting a little bit better, so I wanted to do it, but then everyone's doing it, and so I've done a couple since, and they've been good. Like, I've obviously have fun DJing whenever I'm doing it, but some of them, it's just been like, there's so many other people doing stuff at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, do you remember the period when everyone was doing like quizzes?
Yeah.
Like quizzes became like the in thing to do.
There's been a few trends, isn't there?
It's like crazy trends that would have never happened otherwise in a million years. Like, could you imagine if it was just like none of this happened, all of a sudden people were like, oh, we're going to do a Zoom quiz with like your gran or something, you'd just be like,
my family were doing it like every couple of weeks up until recently, but I think they're still planning on doing it every now and again, because it's just we're not back to normal now, are we? So
yeah, it's like a fun thing. I think everyone got burnt out of it, because there was like a point where we were doing the Garibaldi quiz, and then we were doing like my mum's friends quiz as well, so we were doing 2 quizzes like every week, and then it was just like,
and then your work wants you to do one, and then it just gets a bit crazy.
Yeah, it's just like
you start getting asked the same questions, and then you're like, why don't I remember the answer from the last time?
And you realise like your mind's just going while you're sitting around.
I had enough trivia to last me a lifetime.
Exactly. We could all be quiz masters after this shit. Like, honestly, it is weird that all these trends and stuff, and it's like, especially like the podcasting one seems to be the one at the moment that apparently like I've become a part of.
Yeah, but you've got a steer on it. Like, you're not just a celebrity that's going to let celebrities come and talk about what they're promoting. You've got this unique steer, which is why I want to listen to it. And if I want to listen to it, there's going to be loads of other people who to get the word out.
Like, that was the thing. Like, one of the one reasons I've wanted to do it is because there's an Instagram page called UON Confessions page, which is the unis.
Yeah.
And the amount of students who are just like, there's nothing going on in Northampton, there's no one interesting here, there's just MBs and platform, and then it's like, what the fuck? Like, I get it, because it is like that weird thing where like Northampton is like kind of inaccessible in a weird way, because like you have to kind of dig and find out about things, but it's just like the amount of fucking bitching.
But it's hard. It's like every time I try and contact the uni about we're doing a gig, like, you got any musicians that want to DJ at one of our gigs, or like I just want to get a reply.
Yeah, it's so awkward. It's like that thing where you have to like know the right people at the uni.
Exactly.
Like the uni has
one of the guys that works at the uni in music was my tutor at college, and what I'm trying to say is, it's just like Nottingham's sick for a night out when you're a student, because it's like
I've still never been.
Well, I'm just saying, like, all these places are sick night outs, and it's because the uni is bringing all the money into the clubs, and like it's all part of this thing. And like, I've got friends that have gone to uni and ended up getting into DJing, and now they're DJing at the biggest nights in Nottingham and DJing at festivals and stuff, because they've had that link between the uni and the. I don't feel like
there's one here. It does feel like when I go to uni, it does feel like a completely different world to the rest of Northampton, and I don't know whether they're deliberately trying to distance themselves, or whether it's inadvertent or so weird.
Stabbed in the shoulder or something when they go down Bridge Street. That's not exactly
that's
good.
Part of the charm. It's like why it's good. It's like you got to take the good with the bad, I guess, in a weird way. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just one of the like bad shit happens, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, we're not boring. We have shit going on at least. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. I read a news story recently in the Chronicle and Echo, and it was about it was a truck got stopped, and it was I can't remember if it in Northampton or the guy was from Northampton or something, but it was somehow linked to Northampton. But it was £5 million worth of cocaine in this truck, but it was wrapped up in like Gucci like wrapping, and I was like, you know, at least we have the Gucci cocaine, you know, and not like Poundland cocaine or something disgusting.
Dear.
Like, we got the good stuff.
I used to live in Brixworth, a village in north of Kingsthorpe, and someone had literally wrote on the sign they crossed out Brixworth and just changed it to Columbia. Always made me laugh.
Yeah. Apparently up here is meant to be like the weed place in Northampton, like people say. Like,
what, Wootton?
Yeah. Apparently there's something going on here.
It's probably because you got the link to the M1 or something like that.
Yeah, something's going on here under the surface. You wouldn't know it because it's like looks super nice, but people are like, yeah, you wouldn't know it, but the weed up here is the best in Northampton. I'm like, well, is that saying a lot? But you know,
it's funny when I go, like, if you go further up north or you go down south and stuff like that, like to speak to people about the cultures are actually really different in different places. Like with stoners, I don't know, it's weird. Like, there's places in London that are like illegal versions of a cafe in Amsterdam that you can go to, and it's like a really uncomfortable experience. But it's just funny how like
London doesn't give a fuck at all about anything. There's just shit going on everywhere, and it's awesome. And here I feel like people are fairly lax about things, to be honest. Like compared to some other places you go and they're like.
I think it is in a way, and it's not in a way, because you know I've heard about a lot of experiences that people close to me have had that have been a bit ridiculous, but
it's just a nutty place where like I'm just glad shit's happening, because we could have so easily just be somewhere where it's just like this town where like nothing happens.
Well,
And we do have that reputation, but it's like not true.
The reason why is because just speaking from my experience, it's people now are doing it, and as you say, and they're repping Northampton, and it kind of gives people a bit more, like, it gives me more of a nudge to take notice of something online, because there's so much shit. I try not to look at social media too much.
Yeah.
If I see something that's about Northampton, I want to look at it and support it, because I know someone's trying to do something good in Northampton.
Yeah. And it just feels like it keeps growing.
Yeah.
Like, this lockdown was fucking, like, the one thing I was concerned about when this lockdown hit, I was like, how much cool shit are we just gonna, like, because loads of business closed down and stuff, and I was like, it just felt like stuff was, like, that 2019 winter, like, shit just kept going and kept going, like, people were doing stuff all the time, and then this hit, and I was like, oh my god, if the fucking, like, Gary has to close down or something, or, like, we lose, like, Yellow Bourbon or something like that, it was like, oh, we could just have our local stuff could just be, like keep growing and then just be shut down by this thing, but, like, loads of people pulled through.
And I think it's because you've got, like, clever people running them, they're obviously making the right decisions, but it's because everybody's so supportive of each other. It's like, you know, and
there's no like bitchiness, you know what I mean? Like, you never really see, like, a small band here, like, and they probably, to be honest, they probably do, but it's not like, you never get that vibe from anyone where they're being like, oh, fuck this guy, they're just popular for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think
like everyone's supporting.
You're always gonna have, like, be like, oh, well, we're doing the same music or whatever like that. So, but I definitely know what you're talking about. Where it's just like, there's even music that I'm not interested in, but I'll go down and see what it's like because I just want to support. Or I just think everyone's just been, like, doing something, supporting each other. Just don't get so precious about stuff.
Yeah, it's like you say, like, even I interrupted you too, I should be apologising, but like you say, it's like even music you don't necessarily like, you'll go and check it out. It's like there's not this, like, there's always the stereotype that there's, like, a divide between, like, there'll be, like, hip hop and rap and grime guys, and then, like, rock music and metal and punk and stuff, and they're like, don't mix. But here it's like, even if I go on Instagram and I'm, like, following someone, you know when it, like, tells you who else is following them? It's just, like, a total range of people following and, like, going to those events, and it's like, that's so
it's just a good
sick
tune
to see.
Play it.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I love about the Goldie or whatever. I mean, like, sometimes I've been in there, there's stuff playing and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But a lot of the time I go in there, I'm just like, oh, that's just sick. Like, last night you were playing, like, funk and soul, and then tonight you got, like, a rock band in.
Yeah. And you get some, like, alternative pop stuff, throw it in there. Like,
who else is doing that in Northampton?
Exactly. It's like, I mean, there are other venues as well that are super good, but no one's as diverse as the Gary does.
And, let's just say, like, other places, it's harder, in my experience, to even, like, have a conversation about doing a gig there. Because Gary Bowley, they just want everyone to be able to have a platform and support everybody that's doing something good.
And it's so good. And like I said before, like, it doesn't even have to be limited to music. It can be art. It can be just anything. Basically, it feels like if you can find a way to turn it into an event, and they seem like, let's do it. Let's go for it. Like, let's put it on. Like,
that's why they've got my respect, man. They've got a lot of respect for it.
They are, like you say, it's like the hub. It's become, like, the hub for everything, like, going on. It's like sometimes, like, obviously, like, I'm at uni and there's, like, a lot of, like, art students that I'm near because the photography and art and illustration, all those type of courses kind of all cross over a little bit to a certain extent. And a lot of them are like, oh, I just don't know anyone, like, other creatives and stuff. I'm like, literally go to the Gary, sit there for an hour and you'll run into someone. You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone who's also doing something as well. It's, like, super sick to see.
I love that about it, because that's one thing I've always wanted. Is just I was always jealous to see those videos of, like, everyone in Jammer's basement or something like that in the grime scene, and, like, all these things that's like, I missed out on that. But then, you know, as I said, like, I think sometimes people are quick to say, oh, nothing's going on here, but actually no, it is. You're just being nostalgic about something because 10 years later it's easy to look back and see the impact that something's had. But I don't, definitely don't take things like the Gary Bowley for granted, or people putting on an event, even if it's like they're getting, like, a big DJ to come in, they probably invested a lot of money in that to get this DJ to come down and do it, or a lot of their time, and it's all, in a way, like, a lot of these people are doing it because they want that community there.
And it's super cool as well, because, like, I mean, the way we're talking about it now makes it seem like it's just Northampton stuff they put on, but they put on like stuff from like everywhere as well. Like before the lockdown, they had Tempers come in, who were from they were on a world tour and they're from New York City and stuff. Because we just went down because it was like, oh, it's a Friday night, finish the week at uni, let's go Gary. And then my friend was like, oh, they've got like a gig on or something. I'm like, cool, who is it? And they're like, oh, it's these guys called Tempers. And then there was a French band as well. And we'd never heard of them, and then he was like, yeah, I looked them up and they get like millions of listens on Spotify, and we're like, whoa, that's crazy. And it was so good as well.
If they don't have a following in England, then like,
yeah, and it's just like, it was such a sick night as well. It was just like, this is rad as fuck. It's just like people just rolling through from wherever as well, as well as the people who are here all the time.
In 5 years' time, those bands might be massive here as well, and then you got to see them play at the Gary. I mean, let's just put it this way,
that's the craziest part.
Where else in Northampton in the last 10 years has Skepta come up and done a little like boiler room or whatever? Like, I don't know.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
Jokes,
that was crazy. Apparently they were worried that the floor was going to like collapse into the basement. Like,
the worst part about that place is just obviously the old floorboards, and they like when one person's dancing and then your record needle starts jumping around from the record. It's sick, and I think they've done so much in the last few years, and there's so many other people that have popped up doing stuff, and the lockdown kind of has put a bit of a blocker on it in a way, but then as I said, you know, people are kind of managing to find other ways of doing stuff, and luckily, like, if you're a musician, you can just release some music and you don't have to gig and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's just like, but it's gonna be so, like we say, it's gonna be so good when it all comes back and everyone's just like that, like rush again. Everyone's like keen for it, and it's like people going as hard as they can.
Gigs, as you say, when D becomes like, I mean, the amount of music that he's got coming, it's going to be sick. And I think, I just think, I don't know, I don't know when it happened, but I think there's a people are a bit more switched on to want to come down to those gigs before that person gets big now. And
because I think that's the thing that like Ty made people realise that it was possible. You know, in that weird way. Like, I've never really like understood when people say stuff like that, but now, like, you know, he got like super big shouting on tracks.
We were sat there for years, like obviously depressed, or I don't know what the right word is, but annoyed that like people didn't really care, and then almost like overnight, when you start getting success and you get that label chucking some money into advertising it and getting you on Radio 1 or whatever, everyone goes, oh shit, actually let me listen to that, and they listen to it and oh my god. And that's almost what it's like. Like, you don't have all the time in the world, and you can appreciate people aren't always going to like see your video and want to click on it, but I think now we've started this bit of a culture of like all repping the NN or repping the town. It encourages more people to click on it, and I think it's just going to help more people push forward. Yeah,
I did see someone was making like yet another shirt, like which on one hand I'm like, I've bought a lot of shirts this lockdown, but I'm going to probably keep buying them anyway. But someone did a shirt recently which is Cult of NN, and it's like black and it's got the lift hammer, and it looks.
I don't know who that is.
I want to say it's something to do with Josh Astrop, who did the NN Social through lockdown.
Yeah,
and
I've heard of him.
Then he had a podcast as well, I think, but I don't know whether he still does it or whatever. But but that shirt looks sick, and I was like, yeah, it is kind of a cult in a weird roundabout way. It's like everyone's like locked into it at some level of like back of their mind, thinking about it and stuff, and it's just it's just sick to see. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
I think it's I just find it interesting now, and I'm walking around town, I can see people like with t-shirts that I don't even know who's made that t-shirt now, and you see that they're repping the ends. It's just jokes, man.
It's just everyone's doing it.
It makes you feel so good, because as you said, when I was like first coming into town and skating when I was younger and stuff, like it was just full of people just saying this place is shit, and then now like you don't even need to talk to people and you can see that they like living here. Yeah,
it's like, it's super good to see. It's like not like when going street skating as a kid, and it was just like people who wanted to get into town and get out as quick as possible, you know, and just get what they needed and go, or it was just like crackheads or homeless or whatever it was, and you'd always see some like crazy shit, you know what I mean? But it was like, but now it's like so different. Like people are actually like repping it, even though it's like it's like that thing, like we've made it worth repping, like everyone doing shit like as well as they can as well.
The only reason we can say that it's cool to live here is because there are people doing stuff.
Yeah, and
and there's like the community at the skate park or the bowling, and like I just
and they all kind of cross over as well.
Before Radlands, before the bowling, that I was a bit younger, yeah, granted, but that definitely wasn't there, and I feel like in the last, how long would you say, like 5-6 years, it's just like
and like,
it's all happened now.
It's like you say, like, don't fucking take it for granted, because it could disappear. You know what I mean? And it's like, fuck it. It happened once. Like the original Radlands was.
Yeah, I got the chance to skate it once when I was 5 or something.
I'm so jealous. When I was like, I think I was 8, and I just got a skateboard for my birthday. And my parents were like, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" I'm like, "I want to go to skate park." And they were like, "Oh, we don't know if there is one." And then I like found like some really it was like a Radlands website, but it looked so dodgy in the internet on those days, and then we found out like it disappeared like 4 months before. I was like, fuck.
But that's what I'm saying, for anybody that doesn't know about it, Radlands was our indoor skate park in Northampton,
and it was the best in the fucking world.
Yeah, like literally there's documentaries or videos, of like Tony Hawk's and Bam Margera mentioning Radlands as
everyone
their
came
skate
here.
park.
It's like there's endless photos of like Tom Penny skating it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and this is what I mean. Like, we can look back and be nostalgic about that, which obviously, that was sick. But we've got the new Radlands, like, and in 10 years' time, we're gonna look back at all these times we've had down there and be like, sick. So we just need to make the most of it.
It's just like a shame there's not that many. Like, I kind of like it that there's not events at Radlands, but also like the few times there has been a couple events. Like there was one year where there was like a Go Skate Day that was like
that was
fully going off, and they had like a.
You had too many pros coming down. I can get literally every time I try to skate and there's someone sick skating in front of me, I just fall off in front of them. Feel like
but I don't know. There was one I remember where they had like on the field bit there was like a tent with someone playing music, and all these like raver people turned up out of nowhere that I'd never seen.
Were they playing like drum and bass?
Yeah,
and stuff?
but they'd have like all neon stuff in their hair and stuff, and it was like midday. It was like surreal.
When I tried to do that, kind of I just wanted to turn up, play some tunes and stuff. I wasn't gonna like make an event out of it, but then I don't know why I spoke to the council, but they just basically told me that they were like, you can't do that this year. You can do it next year. And I was just like, for fun.
Council can't like ban show time. Like the Tragic was meant to do their first gig like ever was meant to be at Radlands.
Oh, really?
And it was super like. It was one of the first things I was like tuned into of being like people like hyped for this thing, and it was just like I was like, it's perfect. They're like skater kids just playing loud, noisy, annoying music, and everyone's just gonna go wild skating. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be like, you know when you see on like the Thrasher channel, and it'll be like just a fucking skate jam, and it just looks insane. And I'm like, I wish we had that. And then like I can only like was it the Mountain Dew tour came to Radlands as well? That's the only one I remember where like legit pros
I weren't
came.
there, but I can remember people coming back like with a load of merch and stuff, and I was like, thanks for getting me some, guys.
It was a sick day, but apparently I think that kind of killed the possibility of like the big pros coming back, because apparently I think it was Boo Johnson went into town and got mugged.
Oh really?
So that gave us a nice fucking reputation. And but on the other hand, it's like Boo Johnson at the time. It's like you're on a team called Dirty Ghetto Kids, and you're from like you're meant to be from these like tough places, and you got mugged by some like Northampton idiots. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, I've heard stories about like, I don't know. Have you ever heard the story about Socks, the MC from Birmingham? He's got a bar where he says your ex never went Northampton with 3 O's, came back same day with a jib. But the actual story is that he came into town and got robbed by Jewel Dace. And then went home with fuck all.
Amazing. There was another thing as well, like going back to like original Radlands, there was some old Radlands footage on YouTube, and someone commented like, Mike Vallely better never come back. So someone has some terrible beef with Mike V, and apparently it's over a sandwich. But I don't know the full story, and I'm like...
If I'm thinking... I can't remember what Mike V looks like, but if he's the same guy, like, I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him.
He's like bald, gnarly, like dude who does like foot plants and everything. Like, it's crazy.
Dude. Yeah. And he was in Mall Cop, weren't he?
Was he in Mall Cop?
Yeah, he was one of the evil dudes in Mall Cop skating around, I swear.
Amazing, yeah. There is, in one of the old CKY videos, like CKY like 1 or 2, there's footage where Mike V gets in a fight, because like these 4 like... This was like in the 90s where skateboarding like was super uncool, but he's like skating, he's like fucking buff as fuck, bald head, and there's like these jock guys from in like Tampa or something, they're like, oh, you fucking skateboarding faggot, and he just like levels them.
Yeah.
Like 3 guys at once. He's just like,
I think I've
bro.
seen that video
It's
now
like,
you
oh
mention
my
it.
god. It's like, Jesus Christ, you would not want to get on the wrong side of that guy.
That's
Seems super nice though when you see other shit of
when I
him.
was walking around town when I was 20 years old.
Starting fights. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like that. It's that weird thing that it's like that skateboarding thing. It like gives you that sort of, you kind of, like there's some people who want to be like, ignore all the bad shit about Northampton, we'll be super positive about it, which is good, but like when you're a skateboarder you kind of like appreciate gnarly shit.
Yeah.
Like the word gnarly is still like, yeah,
It's
you see,
ingrained into the culture.
yeah, you just see crazy stuff and you're like, you shouldn't get excited about it, but in a weird way you do.
Yeah.
Like you see just insane shit and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And it's like, you definitely shouldn't, but it's just like part of skateboarding. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna get excited over just seeing mad shit, and it's just like, it makes you wanna.
That's
it's
what
like,
got me into it, just being rad, man.
yeah,
I love that.
it's just about being just. It's like you said, like you weren't a naughty kid in school, you know what I mean? And I wasn't either. I kind of just like sat there, shut up, and just wait for it to be over. But like in skateboarding, it's a rebellion thing, you know what I mean? It's like you get to go out and you get to go out and just basically fuck up shit. Like, oh, that's your nice handrail you put in to help old ladies get down the stairs. Well, I'm gonna fucking grind it. I'm gonna go like, you know,
I'm looking
like,
forward to skating with you soon now.
oh, we gotta go do it, man. We gotta get like, I don't know.
Just
go,
we'll make sure we got each other's numbers, and then I'll give you a text next time down there.
We have to do it. Like, there's nothing better than just like skating with people who you're also like friends with.
Yeah.
Like I was saying it to, I should probably say I was saying it to Felix last night because I'm gonna do a podcast with him tomorrow. So it's gonna be another like just blowfest about skateboarding. Basically, is what tomorrow's episode is gonna be. But he was like, I was like when you think about it, who do you prefer going skateboarding with? Like, if you planned a skate trip, would you prefer to pick like the best skateboarders, or would you just pick your homies? And it's like always like, pick your homies.
Yeah.
It's like the skateboarding's almost not secondary, but you all want to be doing as best as you can. You get stoked for people like pushing themselves and stuff, but you just like, it's all about just like the antics.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
chilling and just like, I mean, I can remember watching certain skate videos when I was younger and just loving like, just all the jokes they were cracking on each other, as well as the sick tricks. It's that like, again, that friendship and community that you can build. Like
the Baker videos, like were the big ones, or anti-hero videos always get me stoked, because it's like they almost like don't give a fuck that they're making a video. It's like, we're not doing parts, we're not doing anything. It's just like, we wanted to go on a trip from here to here, and we're just gonna film whatever happens on the way, whether that's us chatting shit or skateboarding. We'll find out, you know.
It's good.
And it's so just like, oh, it gets you stoked, and then you see others like, but you see other skate videos that just don't. It's like, they're technically good videos, but they don't get you like excited. You know what I mean?
There's certain ones that stick out to me that I can like. The Baker videos got me into hip hop from south, southern hip hop, I think. But like all like Memphis rap and stuff like that, Texas rap and that, and like that influences me so much musically today.
It's alright. That's like music. Like, my music taste is directly from skateboarding. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, it could be any genre. That's why my music taste is just all over the place in a weird way. But it's just because it's like, it's like the nostalgia thing. I think back and I'm like, I remember them skating to it, and it could be the worst song ever, but now it's cool because they were doing this trick to it.
Now it's so literally the worst song, but I don't know why. That's
that was Beagle's part, wasn't it? I can't remember.
It was a Baker video.
Yeah,
I think it was just a research video.
That's where I found out about the Biggie Smalls song. That like, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's like the Dirty Harry remix of one of the Biggie Smalls songs that they used. It was like Antoine Dixon Baker 3, and that song and that part, and it's like, to my day, like, I talk to people about Biggie Smalls, and they're like, no one ever mentions this song, and I'm like, you're gonna hear it and it's gonna be amazing. It's
one of those rare ones that you whip out at parties, and it's like, what the f-?
And people are like, oh, I've never heard this, but damn, let's going.
I love that. I found when you find like a rare record or something to play to your friends, and then they turn around, especially when they know the artist already, but they never heard it. They're like, what the?
There's the other thing, like with like actual records as well, finding shit that's like stoked but people wouldn't expect, and like
rare stuff. The reason why I collect records is because I just know, like, especially stuff like reggae, I'm never going to be able to listen to that on Spotify.
Yeah, because it's just like
it's not going to get on there.
Yeah,
so
just like
if you
lost
find a
and
reggae
forgotten.
record that you like, buy that.
Yeah, just get on it.
Yeah.
I was just like it's like the Northampton merch thing. Like Baby Lung released a vinyl,
Yeah,
and I'm not
yeah.
like the biggest Baby Lung fan, but I'm like, it's a Northampton band. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
I have
like-
physical copy. It's like,
Yeah, we're gonna get some vinyl of that soon. That's the plan.
I will cop them immediately.
Yeah, I
dude.
would so badly want to do it, but it's just waiting for the right project, isn't it? Because it's like
Yeah,
we've got. I'll show you some. I'll send you some links after this.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Talking
I'm gonna have to
like-
try and make you a little theme tune for your podcasters.
that'd be so sick. It's like it's slowly like all the pieces are coming together after I've already started it. Like people are like, oh, you need to
work
go.
in progress, man. It's a bit like that skater game you were talking about earlier. Just
Yeah,
Give it some
exactly. It's
update.
like at the moment it's like good enough for those who wanna.
I've
Deal
read a
with
book
it.
about building a business, and it is just get the minimum viable product and then test it on the go, and that's how it's going to get the best, rather than just wasting a load of time creating a load of shit and then the first
Never
episode
actually doing
it's
anything.
crap or whatever.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I think though, my next priority is some sort of logo, so then I can move it to
Yeah,
Spotify because loads of people are like, I try and watch it, but then I'm like on YouTube on my phone, and then I
that's the one,
can't be doing other shit. But
when I'm at work, you can just have a YouTube thing open, but yeah, when you're on the that's another
if you're on a
people's
phone,
live
it's like-
streams I always moan about. So if you find a way around that, let me know.
I'll look into it. But yeah, so next stop Spotify,
Yeah, man.
then a Sammy Byrne jingle.
It's been fun, and
Yeah.
I've got my manager at work gave me her 80s keyboard for a couple of weeks to fiddle around with, so I'll see if I can come up with something
Amazing,
joke.
that'd be so sick. But yeah, fuck man, this has been good. This has been
jokes.
a
We'll have to do
fun
it again sometime.
podcast. Oh, definitely, man.
I think
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to just see, like, as I mean, I don't know if we can still call it a lockdown, but as all this shit kind of blows over and things start changing, to have a catch up on here. And,
Yeah, definitely.
let
When
the
everything's
people
back to
know.
normal and get everyone's sort of experience down, like all the cool people and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been a fucking fun episode, dude.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to
I mean,
desperately talk about?
follow Not Normal Records on all the social medias.
100%.
Some music coming out soon. Big up all the artists that I'm working with: DB, Serena, Rare Brez. Big up you for listening. Big up Joe.
Rad. Make sure you go buy their shirts and anything else you put out.
Yeah, well, a good thing to support. The most helpful thing is Bandcamp are doing their Bandcamp Friday, so the first Friday of every month. If you've got artists that you like on Bandcamp, buy their music on there, because more of the money goes directly to the artist rather than having to pay tax
okay.
to iTunes and all that crap.
Ah, sick.
So yeah, that's been a lifesaver throughout lockdown, really.
I didn't even know about that. I'll have to
Yeah, I'll
look
send you
into
some
it.
links you can
Yeah,
see.
man. Sick. Rad. Anyway, Sammy Byrne, the man, the myth, the legend. It's been fun. Safe.